Hey everyone, if you follow me on social media or read anything I write on my website, you know that I'll reference the U.S. Army Mountain Warfare School a lot, or AMWS for short. Most people listening probably have been to the school once or twice, but I still get a lot of questions here and there, both online and in real life, so I'll take some time to clear up some of those questions. Also, I'll be doing some talks comparing the Army's school to some of the other schools. So consider this sort of a precursor or episode 1. A disclaimer up front, climbing mountaineering in general is a topic that 10 people could have 20 different opinions on. So things I'm going to say are merely my humble opinion. I'm not an official source of this information. So what is an AMWS? It is the official mountain warfare school of the U.S. Army. It's located in Jericho, Vermont, and it's run entirely by the Vermont National Guard. There are other Army schools that teach mountaineering, but I'll get into them some other time. The school's objective is to train soldiers in mountain warfare and cold weather operations, with an emphasis on mobility. In my head, there are 4 main problems to solve when it comes to mobility, and that's moving people uphill, moving equipment uphill, and then moving people downhill and moving equipment downhill. Obviously, that's a gross oversimplification, but you get the point. The school's forte is really its basic and advanced courses, and to understand them, we'll have to talk about some terminology. In the U.S., we have a system of classifying terrain from 1 to 5. It's called the Yosemite Decimal System. So 1 being an easy walk on relatively flat ground, 3 is steep or uneven enough where you might want to or need to use your hands to scramble up or down something. So that class 3 is usually about 45 degrees, and if someone falls, they'll probably sustain an injury. Class 5 terrain is very steep, technical climbing terrain. It's basically vertical. So the basic course is a 2-week course, requires no prior knowledge, and it starts with knot tying, and by the end, you'll be constructing complex rope systems. These rope systems will help you in everything from class 1 to class 3 terrain. And that's sort of the wheelhouse for military mountaineering, because for the most part, you're only going to encounter terrain that's 0 to 45 degrees. Even if there is steeper terrain that exists where you are, you're probably going to avoid going on it, regardless of your level of training. You do climb rock and ice in the basic course, but that's basically for conditioning. The basic course is held both summer and winter, and if you graduate from either one of those phases, you are awarded the Special Qualification Identifier E, or ECHO, which is why mountaineers in the Army are sometimes simply called ECHOs. You are also awarded the Ram's Head device and considered a Level 1 mountaineer. This differs from in the past when you had to go to both summer and winter to become a Level 1 mountaineer. Now, as long as you go to one of those phases, you are considered that Level 1 mountaineer. Sorry for all the letters and numbers. If you're in the military, you know it's inevitable. So what's expected from a Level 1 mountaineer after they graduate? Firstly, you should be the subject matter expert on moving people and equipment up and down Class 1 to Class 3 terrain. If you don't regularly practice this, you're going to forget it. And you might have to fight for that training time from whatever unit you're in to get that training time. The next thing you should do is you should be teaching Level 1 tasks to Level 0s, or people who haven't yet had that training. You can start with teaching them knots and then progress into how to put a harness on and how to package a patient to get them through rough terrain. Things like when you're out in the mountains and you want everyone to already know how to do things, so that way you can focus on building a system rather than teaching everybody, how to put a harness on. Ultimately, you want to get them ready to go to the basic course themselves when that time comes. So those are the 2 expectations. Practice what you've learned and train those that are one step behind you. For most soldiers, Level 1 mountaineering is enough. However, if you have the aptitude for it, there's a 3rd expectation, and that 3rd expectation is you start training for the advanced course. And these are in priority order, by the way. I wouldn't be pushing to go to the advanced course and become a Level 2 if your unit hasn't even used the basic mountaineering skills that you learned first. This is my opinion, but you don't want to be taking slots away from someone whose unit legitimately wants and needs that higher capability, and the assault climber class sizes are significantly smaller. But let's assume you check all those boxes and you use the mountain skills at your unit, you spread that knowledge out. How can you prepare for the advanced course? Firstly, make sure you're in shape and you climb as much as you can. Go to a local climbing gym, top rope, boulder if you can't top rope. And if you do have trustworthy people who you can climb outside with, try to get into those groups too. And you can usually meet those types of people at climbing gyms. So can you go to the advanced course and pass without specifically training for it? Of course. But you'll get a lot more out of it, in my opinion, if you're already a confident climber and can just relax and learn the information rather than having to learn how to climb at the same time as learning new information. Now let's talk about the advanced course. It's 2 weeks, both summer and winter, and to be considered a full-fledged level 2 mountaineer, you have to do both phases. And the focus during the advanced course is that class 4 and 5 terrain, so steeper than 45 degrees. Of course, because things are steeper and more dangerous, you're going to learn some more advanced rope work and you'll learn how to lead climb. You also learn some rope rescue, and in the winter you'll do some skiing. Once you graduate both phases, you'll be a level 2 mountaineer, sometimes called an assault climber. A lot of people think that's a misnomer because you're not really assaulting anything. Assaulting means something completely different in the military context, but I'll let other people argue about that. The same things are expected from level 2 graduates. Train at your unit, train those level 2 tasks, and then train the level 1 mountaineers at your unit to prepare them for that level 2 course. So the school doesn't have a level 3 course, but that doesn't mean that there isn't more training to be had. If you think about it, civilian mountain guides go through years of practice and training, and at this point, if you've done the basic and both advanced courses, that's still only about a month and a half total of official training that you've had. So I would recommend that if you want or need additional training, tailor it to your unit's specific needs. Maybe it's more in-depth avalanche training or ski training or climbing training. If you get to this point, you probably have a good idea exactly of what your unit needs. And maybe it's one of the specialty courses taught at the schoolhouse that your unit would want you to go to, and that's what I'm going to get into right now, is the specialty courses. So during the shoulder seasons of the fall and spring, when it's too cold to climb rock but too warm to ice climb, the school teaches 7-day specialty courses, which are the Mountain Planners course, the Rough Terrain Evacuation course, and the Mountain Rifleman's course. So the Mountain Planners course is for leaders to go and learn how planning for mountain operations is a little bit different, and you learn by doing. You plan and then you actually go try and execute the plan that you have made. You have to anticipate logistics, resupply, casualty evacuation routes, and all of that in the mountain context. For platoon leadership and higher, this is a great course. Next is the Rough Terrain Evacuation course, and the name is self-explanatory. You're doing a week of moving casualties due to difficult terrain. I'd recommend medics in mountain units get through this course because the small tricks that you learn add up into huge time and energy savers when we're talking about evacuations that take hours, days, 2 days, etc. And finally, Mountain Rifleman's course teaches that mountain aspect to long-range shooting and sniper things. Right? Sniper school is a prerequisite for this. Admittedly, this is the course that I know the least about. I'm not a sniper. However, soon I'm going to be speaking to someone who has been to this course and has experience in both being a sniper and instructing sniper school. Each one of these courses could be their own separate talk because there's that much to each one of these courses. But also remember, you learn a little bit of each of these in the basic course. The specialty courses just takes those topics and expands them out to a 7 days long worth of information. As always, if you have more questions, reach out. If you've made it this far, you probably find this info useful. So do something that will spread this information to others. Share the Spotify link or comment on the YouTube video. Tell us, have you been to any of these schools? What did you think of them? Am I full of it, or am I pretty spot on with some of this info? Keep your eyes out for new articles on the website and new talks on either the YouTube or Spotify. And yeah.